Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 720. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do some ribbon stitching. Now, this ribbon stitching, there's different kinds of ribbon stitching. You can use 1 ribbon, 2 ribbons, or 3 ribbons, and I have other videos on how to do the 1 and the 2 ribbons. But this one's going to show you how to do 3 ribbons. And you can get an effect that looks like this, where you've got 3 different colors. They look like they're braided, and you don't see any stitching because those are covered up by the ribbons. Here's an example of ribbon stitching using 3 of the same color, and it's sewn on there really well. You can see, well, you can't really see from that side. Probably see from this side better. This is what it looks like on the back, and that's what your stitch is going to look like on the screen. So let's get into that. So we go to menu, then we go to this oval here. We have to page ahead until we find the little thing that looks like ribbon stitching. There we go, ribbon stitches. Now there are 2 pages here, so I'm going to go ahead to the next one. These are the 3 ribbon stitches. Now so it helps to do the little question mark and say, okay, what kind of, that would be for the 1/8 inch. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit wider, but not quite a 1/4 inch. And this one is for a 1/4 inch wide ribbon. That's how wide the ribbon should be. Now you want to use the same width of ribbon for each of the 3 ribbons here. Okay, so it's nice to have that little question mark there so you can kind of figure out what you're doing. Now I have 3 different ribbons. They're all a little bit different, but they're basically your 1/4 inch wide ribbon. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm choosing this one here. That's what that stitch looks like. So let's get started. Now, first of all, it calls for the 2A foot, which is what I have on here right now. And it also calls for stabilizer, but I'm using a heavy denim, and the denim doesn't really need stabilizer. But if I was using a thinner, like quilting cotton, then I would use a stabilizer of some sort. That'll keep the stitches nice and flat. Okay, so press our foot down. Now, we want to engage and make sure we have engaged this needle down position. If that's not down, we need to make sure that it is. Okay, so in this case it's not. So when it rolls to a stop, if you've got this engaged, that means that it will stop like that, with the foot raised a little bit and the needle down. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to use the start-stop function because that seems to work better and quicker than using the foot control. So here we go. We want to just stitch out 1 stitch. That's about this much here. Now the first little line goes at that direction. So that means we want to put our first ribbon this way, right up against the needle and straight. So you need to kind of hang on to it. I'm going to hang on to it from the back so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Then push the start-stop button. It stitches across that and ends up this way. Now we're going to put our second ribbon crossing that at that angle, and that's, you can see what angle to put it in if you look up here. That's about the angle that you want it to be. Then hanging onto that, I'm going to push this. At this point, we want to cross that one. It's a little bit like braiding hair, getting it started just right, and then you just keep braiding. Now, at this point, you can turn this if you're not quite sure which way to do and which one to cover. You want to be covering this one here because it's kind of like weaving. So that means the next one goes like this, right up next to the needle, and then we start it. Okay, at this point, it's time to start braiding. So remember, this blue one is under the white, so now it needs to be over the yellow and right up next to the needle. Keep it straight there. Here we go. And just like braiding hair, if you have 2 on one side, the one behind goes over. You turn it, put it right up next to the needle like that, and make sure you're holding it fairly taut, not really tight, but fairly taut so you don't have extra ribbon on the side. Make sure your fabric is going straight. And then it's just a matter of each time you have ribbons, 2 ribbons on one side, you just fold over the one that's behind. So I'm going to do this, and you don't even need to lift up your presser foot because that's already a function of this button up here. Now, another thing that you want to make sure you haven't put in a tie-off stitch or a cut. That's important because it would kind of mess up the whole process. So make sure that these guys are off. Here, I'll show you right here. See, they're all off. Okay. Push that one again. I'm going to do a couple more rounds just so that it gets long enough so you can see what it looks like. Alrighty. And as I said, these ribbons are all a little bit different. Now, if you want to take a quick look, make sure everything's fine, this hover function really helps you take a look and make sure that everything looks the way you want it to be. Now, one thing about this particular ribbon, actually, yeah, this particular ribbon is shiny on one side and kind of matte finish on the other side. So because you're crisscrossing it, you might want to get ribbon that's shiny, like this white ribbon is shiny on both sides. That seems to work a little bit better. Same thing with this picot edge ribbon. Okay, so however long you want this to be, I'm going to just do one more here, like that. Get this one up out of the way. However long you want it to be, at that point you would stop. So what I'm going to do is do a tie off, and here we go. Just do a little tie off, and then I'm going to do a cut. All right. I also could have lifted after the tie off. As long as the button is up, or the needle's up, I could have also just cut the thread. But when the needle's down, sometimes it's useful to just use the cutter button. This is what it looks like. And so you can do something like this with ribbons that are all the same color, like I showed you over here, or ribbons that are 3 different colors, like this. So hopefully this video has helped you get started on ribbon sewing. It's a really exciting, wonderful way to embellish a lot of your clothing and your household projects. So if this video has been helpful to you and if you've enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on this machine and on other machines here at Montevilla on our YouTube channel. So thanks for watching today. Bye-bye.